Okay. Um, Good morning, everyone. Hope all is well. Thanks for chiming in this morning. Before I kind of jump into a couple of things, I want to leave room and space for any questions about anything that anyone has regarding your clients, regarding your sessions, regarding the programs, anything. Nothing?
Not off the top of my head right now.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. There's a document that I came across that I think is a really powerful one, and I'm actually putting it in the group text now. It's about. I'm sorry, that's the wrong. Wait a minute, is that right? Yeah, that's right. It's a 28-page document on managing triggers. It's a toolkit for managing triggers. And it really gives a great breakdown. It gives a foundation, it gives definitions, it gives examples. Some of like the snippet that I kind of shared in the Moving Forward program for those of you who are on it. And I talked about like the elevator shaft and how, you have the trigger, but then there's deeper meaning and there's the internal wound at the base. That came from this 28-page document. And so what I would encourage is that in addition to whatever you're reading for your book that you give Discover and Declares on, this is an actual tool that you can use with your clients. And so how many of you have clients that are dealing with triggers? Okay. Yeah, pretty much all of us, right? So this is a document that I would constantly reference. And the thing is this, like what I tend to do is there's a almost like a teaching element of the session. Like you're hearing from them, you're getting an update on how things are going, you're kind of navigating them through conversation, helping them to resolve. But then there's like the small little teaching element that you may, have with your client in the session. And so, but in addition to that, it's, a lot of times you may give homework to clients and they don't do anything. So when you meet up with them the following week, hey, did you do your homework or did you work on your such and such? Or, are you doing your daily such and suches? No, 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 didn't get around to it. And so nothing's being done. So they're holding on to their trigger. Well, if you scroll through this 28-page document towards the latter part of it, it really gives some really detailed techniques of what they can do. And so, I mean, you can't make people do what they're not going to do, but it's more than just, hey, think positive. It's more than just take time to breathe. Like it will give you specific things. And so I would encourage you to provide this level of insight to them in bite-sized pieces because you know how it is. When you give somebody everything, they do nothing with it. But when you piecemeal it out to them, it's more manageable for them and they're able to now do something with it. And I'd rather them zone in on a particular technique, tactic, or two than to be overwhelmed with everything and they do nothing with it. Does that make sense? Okay. Um, just hearing from anyone, if you would, the triggers that they're experiencing are they just as great as they were when you first started with them? Are your clients doing anything that is productive to help them overcome their particular trigger? Like what are you experiencing with your clients?
I think they are a lot better than where they were when we first started with them. We still struggle with them doing the homework that is given. Now, some of it I understand because they had just moved and things are packed away. But at least when we're talking to them, I can hear and they will even say, I do remember when we've had these conversations and I implemented this and this is working for us. Or, when we argue, we are able to resolve it in a matter of this period of time.
Okay.
Or, I might have, or they'll reach out to me and I might not respond right away. And by the time I talked to them, they were just like, well, I'm glad you didn't respond because we fixed it. So even though they're not doing the homework all the time, they are attentive, and the triggers are not as detrimental as they are now.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just want to say, first of all, thank you for that for that information, Hassani. I think that'll be extremely helpful. So thank you for sharing that. I definitely feel like my clients are doing significantly better from day one up until where they are now. To me, the major difference is exactly what you're saying. It's them doing the work in between sessions. So the ones who tend to struggle are the ones who are not doing the work. Right? So, but I definitely feel like, yes, they're doing significantly better from day one up until now. And like I said, I attribute that to being able to give them things to do and them actually doing those things.
Are there any things, okay. Really quickly, your couples, are they typically honoring their workday play date in addition to whatever individual work that they need to be doing? Is there
Yes.
more of a flow with that? They still don't do that.
I'm saying yes. Mine do. Were you talking to me or were you talking to everybody?
You and everybody. Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, for the most part, I feel like mine are.
Okay.
Mine try, but they're not consistent in it, and that's just because of their lack of support with their children. But I've even suggested doing things, after the kids go to bed or before the kids wake up, and they're trying.
Roderick?
I think ours. Yeah, I probably need to talk to you offline. I mean, because um, there's still a lack of consistency, not just with the date night and the play date, but just showing up. I mean, our latest couple, well, not the latest one that Roland just gave us, but the open relationship. They've gone radio silence on us. They won't respond to anything. That we've done two, and we were preparing them for full disclosure. And at the last minute, the wife responded that she wasn't feeling good and that she wanted to make sure she was filling up to speed for the full disclosure. So she counseled on us. And since then, they hadn't responded to any portal messages, text messages, or phone calls.
Is this the same? When you look at the previous clients, is this when the drop off typically happens?
Yeah, I mean, for Sandra and I, it seems like when we get to the full disclosure, I mean, like the call to prep them for the full disclosure, we've only done one full disclosure. And then after the full disclosure, the next step was to write the letter, then that couple fell off. The guy didn't want to write the letter. So they stopped showing up, stopped responding. Up until then, every couple that we've had, when we are prepping them for the full disclosure, that's when all of a sudden they can't afford it anymore, or they ghost us, or we don't hear from them.
Is anyone else having that challenge?
I had that once, but I kind of had to move some stuff around because we weren't nowhere near ready for full disclosure. There was just we could barely have a session without them arguing, and just so I kind of had to move that around and focus on them communicating with each other so we could have sessions to get that far. But that was it. And then afterwards, it was fine.
Are you feeling resistance when you bring up full disclosure, which has caused these couples to drop off? Or that's for you, Roderick. Like, do you feel like, I don't know about this, I'm not ready for this, and you're like, well, listen, we got to do it, or they're just like, okay, that's what we need to do, and they just bounce?
No, when we get through the first session, Issue Pie, Pleasure Island, Second session, we kind of dig into some of the issues and then start prepping them for the full disclosure. And then, I mean, they're on board of it. They're excited about it. Some of them have actually, well, not all of them would actually send us, the betrayed spouse would send us the questions that he or she wants to ask. And even the betrayer, most of them have provided us a first draft of what their letter is all about. And then after we respond, like say, only one we've gotten through the full, we've actually did the full disclosure. All the others, we do the prep work, have correspondence, then like 24 to 48 hours before the actual full disclosure session, something comes up. We can't afford it. Or like I say, the latest couple, there was going to have to be full disclosure on both sides, the husband and the wife. So the wife, again, about 48 hours said, hey, I hadn't been feeling good, and I know I need to be, I want to make sure I'm at my best health, feeling good for the full disclosure. And basically, I get back with you. And the husband, he's been radio silent pretty much except during the sessions.
Do me a favor, Roderick, write down the clients and their phone numbers and send them over to me so I can call them. But just moving forward, like this new client, obviously they paid for 12 sessions, so they're not going anywhere. But they could, who knows? Maybe you want to try switching things up. So rather than going into the third session being full disclosure, just like Jewel had to kind of maneuver, push it down a week or two and deal with some of the other issues that are pressing issues. And, sometimes you just have to do that. We have a structure, we have a system that works, but you want to be, fluid enough to know when to make pivots if you feel it's not going in the direction you need to go in. So just push it down a week or two and deal with other issues. Issue pie is enough to do it. This is my daughter. Give me 2 seconds, guys.
Rod, quick question.
Yes. Yes.
Are you guys splitting up the process because they can't afford like the 4 hour, or because if I'm hearing this correctly, it sounds like you're saying that you guys will give them the work to do outside of full disclosure, like on their own, and then you come back together to actually have them read the letters and do the questions. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, we have them, we prepare them as far as what full disclosure, the importance of it, what it looks like, and then we have them, the betrayer put together his or her letter, send it to us, the first draft, and then we have the betrayed, think about the questions they want to ask, and then provide us the list of questions, and then we kind of talk about it in preparation for the full disclosure. So yeah,
Okay, and
we're
that's
breaking it
happening
up.
in a session. That's happening in a session outside of full disclosure.
Yes, that's happening pre full disclosure. That's the prep work to get to full disclosure.
Okay, so maybe, and I don't know why you are handling it this way. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I hardly ever do it that way. I will do it that way if the client tells me that they can't afford a 4 hour solution. If they tell me they can't afford that, then I'm like, okay, well, then you'll have to do the prep work outside of our session, and then we'll just come together, but at least give me 2 hours. Like, give me 2 hours so that we can get through reading other letters and the questions and this and that. Like, I don't do all of that outside of full disclosure. Like, it's all done within full disclosure. So we talk about full disclosure in a session. Once I have their commitment to doing that, then we're booking a 4 hour solution. The 4 hour solution, that's where we go through them writing the letter, them doing the questions, and then we come back and we do it all together in that 4 hour solution. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I will say this: some of the, we've had couples where we've told them, okay, full disclosure will need a minimum of 2 hours or 3 hours, And they're like, okay, no problem, no problem, no problem. And then they ghost us. Now, this last couple, the swingering couple, we got them to commit to a 4-hour window. They were excited. Everything was going smooth. And then, like I say, 48 hours before the session, that's when we hear from the wife.
Okay.
I know
Well,
for sure. I know there are going to be some couples that are just going to do that. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of times too, if we give them too much up front, then the fear will set in and they will tap out. But if I get you locked into a 4-hour solution, you already paid for it. Like that's when you're going to get all of the specific details about what you need to do. And we're here now. It's almost like last chance weekend. Once they're there, you can't go nowhere. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the way I try to handle that. I don't know if that helped you at all or not.
No, it definitely helped me. I mean, at this point, I mean, we have to change it up because we keep doing what we're doing. Like I say, with that full disclosure is usually where our couples fall off. So I mean, I like the idea of changing up, trying something different, just saying, hey, this next session is gonna require a minimum of such and such, and get the commitment up front. And during that session, that's when we just walk through everything. So I like that change up.
also, I was on the phone, but she may have said this, but with this new client that you have who've paid for 12 sessions up front, keep in mind they've paid for 12 hours up front.
Mm-hmm.
So you could choose to do that however you choose to do it. So it doesn't have to be 12 weeks. It could be 6 weeks because you did a 4-hour. You see? So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, but give me that information from the other people offline, and then I'll try to tag team with you and see what we can do to get them back
Okay.
on board. Because guess what? If they're not coming to you, they're going somewhere at some point. So we need to get them back into the fold. Any other questions or anything regarding that I could speak to? All right. Anyway, the triggers document, please take the time to read it and use it as just a reference that you can constantly study and incorporate into the sessions. We'll probably take some of this and also move them into the moving forward sessions as well. I don't know if all of you are giving your clients homework, but one thing that you can do and suggestions that you can make to keep them consistent with their work days is always recommend a video. When I say recommend a video, like we do so many videos every single day, rather than just saying, hey, when you get a chance, watch this, send them the actual link to the video. Okay. If not a video, if you found an article, like I know Lakeisha will do this a lot of times, like based upon what's being discussed in the session, she may find some resource online and send it to them. Because a lot of people struggle with, we had our work day and it wound up being a fight fest, or we didn't know what to talk about. So giving them certain tools can be helpful. And that way, what you do outside of the session will impact how they show up when they're in the session, right? You got to reinforce the point, and I know you all probably do, that their marriage can't be saved inside of the session. It is the work in between the sessions that will make the difference for them. So the more you load them up when I say load them up, don't overwhelm them, but the more you provide them with tools, resources, the more effective it will be for them and the more committed they'll be to the process. Okay. Outside of that, I just want to cover a couple of things. There is upcoming in April a masterclass. Now, all members of Moving Forward will get this masterclass because it's already included in their membership. However, here's an opportunity for you to go to your existing clients as well as going to whomever your community and letting them know about the masterclass. I don't necessarily know exactly what the title is yet, but the subject is sex. Okay. So Lakeisha is going to be doing the masterclass. Danielle and I will probably be doing like 30 minutes. Lakeisha is going to be leading this. Okay. So we're talking through all the details. We'll share with you all the details of what's going to be covered so that you can properly articulate to your client base and those who are not your clients, your prospects, the importance of doing it. Typically, the cost is the cost of an individual session is $197. Okay, $197. For everyone that you refer, I believe it's a $25 referral fee that you get. If we don't have it yet, I'll have Danielle create a affiliate link to this particular masterclass so we can track how many sales you've gotten. So initially it was going to, and Lakeisha, you're hearing this for the first time. Initially it was going to be at the very beginning of April, but we're already halfway into March. So Lakeisha, the 29th, does that date work for you?
I'll follow up this morning with that.
Okay. If it doesn't, please let me know today. If not the 29th, maybe the 22nd, but at least a month lead time. There's a few things that I want to share with you that I want to do with that masterclass, not in the masterclass, but attached to the masterclass that I think would be powerful. But in essence, just keep that down. You'll get details from us this week before the week is over. We're working on flyers, we're working on commercial, just everything that we need to do to drive people to it. It's perfect timing. We're entering into spring. As you know, based upon the topic that we covered in Foundry, this is the time to renew, restore, refresh, revive. And so to really focus on intimacy/sexuality, it's perfect timing for it. So usually when we had the masterclass the last time on sex, were any of you a part of that? You were not a part of that? None of you? Okay. Well, Danielle and I have done sex campaigns that weren't attached to a masterclass, and we were able to draw a nice response from people on social media. And so we got like at least 200, couples that kind of responded to it. And so it'll also lead to the potential of clientele too. So we really want to maximize our efforts with this. So that'll come up. And then the last piece is we just put the announcement out for the gala, which is on October 7th. And so all of you are free to share that with your clientele, family, friends, so on and so forth. We definitely want you there. We definitely want you to have your family and people who are connected to you there. I think the question was confirmed and answered. You cannot nominate yourself. You cannot nominate any member of the team. It just looks weird. We have other things we're doing, so that won't be a part of it. But if you know anybody who has a story, they've overcome hardship, they're in a better place, I need you to nominate them. We need to get that out like ASAP. The sooner we have candidates that we have to choose from, the better, because it allows us to then help them get their people out. Okay. So I want you to start thinking through over the next day or so who you think would be a good candidate. We've reduced the qualifications. Before, you had to be married for 20 years at a minimum. We've reduced that to 10. And the hardship that they've experienced, it doesn't have to be, affair related, though it can be. It could be, it just opens it up to a whole lot of other opportunities for people, whatever the struggle may have been. Maybe it's a loss of life, handicap, on the verge of divorce for whatever reason, but they were able to overcome it. Okay. Not people who are still together, but they're struggling. I'm not interested in that. We want a complete story. People who have been restored and they're in a better place today. And they're a living example to others. Okay. Any questions on that?
How long
You
is the
guys
masterclass?
said, how do we nominate?
How do you nominate them? I'll have Danielle give the specifics on that. First, I just want to get you to get the list in your mind. I think she's creating like something for you to have to send out to them, or I don't know. She's in those details. I'm not in those details. So she and Roland know more about that than I, but I'll have that question answered for you.
The master class, 4 or 5 hours.
It's 4. I mean, generally we pitch for 4. You know, if it winds up going to 5, it's because, you know, Q&A may take us into that. And those who have to leave at 4 can leave, and those who choose to stay can stay. But it will be 4 at a minimum. Anyone else? All right, I guess that's it. I'll have Danielle follow up with the nomination process and get that out to you so that we can get this going. But we're excited about what we have so far. All right, guys. Have a great day.